Hi everyone. So by now you should have drawn up your colour wheel and you should have painted your three primary colours inside in the inner circle of your colour wheel. Your cool blue, which is this one here, your cool red, this one, and your cool yellow, okay? Now for this activity we're only going to need these colours, okay? And we're going to start with cool red and cool yellow, and we're going to paint all the areas of the colour wheel that use those two colours. So we're going to be painting the red orange, the orange, and the orange yellow and the yellow sections of the colour wheel. And once that's done, we can then continue with the other areas as well. But we'll just focus on these two colours. So we need water, we need our brush. You also need paper towels, so they come in handy for wiping the wetness off your brush and also for wiping the paint off as well. You'll need your palette, your two colours, your book, okay? So let's get started. I'm going to just turn my book around and I'm just going to focus on these sections here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint in the primaries. I'm going to paint the red, and I'm painting it quite thickly because I want to blend these. I want this to stay quite wet. All right, so there's my red. And I'm going to now put in my yellow. So this is where you need to wash your brush and dry it. You could even start with your lighter colours first to avoid contaminating them. But anyway, there's my yellow. Okay, so I'm going to paint those two colours in first. And then I'm going to paint my secondary colour, which is orange. So I'm going to have to mix that. So I've just got my red and yellow here, and I'm just going to add a bit of red to the yellow. Now we always add the darker colour to the light colour, because if you do it the other way around, you'll find that it might take a lot of paint before you get what you want. So we just work very gradually. Now looking at that, that's quite a very yellowy orange. I want to just get a very middle orange. An orange that looks neither reddish or yellowish. I think that's just about right. So I'm just going to use that, and I'm going to paint the orange section. Now I'm painting it quite thickly, as I mentioned before, because I want to blend these colours. Okay, I'm going to start blending, and I'm going to start with the light and go to the dark, because I want to keep my brush nice and clean, because it's full of orange paint now. So I'm going to wash it. I'm going to dry it with a paper towel. Get all that paint off. Change your water as often as you can, guys. And I'm just going to start with the yellow section. I actually might just put a bit more yellow paint on my palette, so I've just put in a little bit more, as you can see, a bit more yellow. Just going to grab that and going to place it there. So I'm just going to take it over there to that side, and you can see that it's already blending. I probably should have, there we go. So we go from light to dark to create that blended effect. And so in effect, what I've done by blending is I've created a yellow orange, okay? And this is a really good way just to get you to learn how to control your paint as well. It's a really good way to create blended textures or smooth textures, so it will come in handy. Okay, so now we're going to move on to this section here. We're going to do the same. Wash your brush, guys. You've only got one sort of soft, wide brush, so you will need to keep washing and drying it. So again, I'm going to pick up some more orange just to wet this area, and I'm just going to take it over to the red, which is still wet, and I'm going to just blend that there. And what I've done is I've created a red orange. Okay, so, and it's quite gradual. I've gone out off the lines, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so there's my red orange, and that's it. So I've just done yellow, yellow, orange, 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 and red on my colour wheel. So the next thing obviously is to do the next section. You're going to then do all your blue colours. So you will do, for instance, put a blue and a yellow on your palette to create yellow, green, green, blue, green, and blue. So that's the next step. Wash your brushes in between, guys. And then finally, the last thing you'll do is blue and red on your palette, and do blue, blue, violet, violet, and blue, and violet, red. Okay, so give that a go, and yeah, good luck with that. Okay, so now I'm ready to complete the next section of my colour wheel. I'm going to be doing primarily the blue and the green section, which means I need yellow and blue to complete the next bit. So let's have a look at the colour wheel. We're going to be completing everything that contains blue and yellow. So blue, blue, green, green, and yellow, green. So let's get started. Make sure you start with a clean brush and you have your paper towel and your jar of water handy. So I'm going to start off with my primary colour, which is blue. So we'll just paint that in. Okay, I'm going to make my secondary colour, which is green. So I'm going to mix some of this blue. I'll just wipe the excess off. I'm going to put the dark colour into the light colour, as I mentioned before, to make my green. And I'm aiming for a mid-green, a green that is neither too blue nor too yellow. Okay, so I'm going to put that on quite thickly here. You'll notice that this particular blue, this cool blue, gives me a really nice, pure, vivid green. It doesn't give me that khaki green that will happen if I was to use the other blue. There we go, there's my green. I think I'm ready to do the blue-green now. They're still quite wet, so I'm going to just move that over to this side and I'm going to blend it. Now I may need to add some more blue to that, just to blend it. There we go. And you can see I've just created a tertiary colour. I've created blue-green. Okay, the final area is my yellow-green. Now I'm going to really have to wash this brush because it's got lots of dark paint on it, and I'm going to need a bit more yellow on my palette, so I'll just put some yellow here. Okay, I'm just going to wet this a bit, and I'm going to use, just use what's there for now. Use that green and just blend it on. And of course you just go back to it and tidy it up. You have to work quite quickly with acrylics because they do dry, especially now that the weather is warming up. But you can see that I have now created another tertiary colour by simply blending, and that's my yellow-green. There we go. Okay, I'm now finally ready to paint the last section of my blended colour wheel, and that's the blue violet, the violet and the violet red. So having a look at this colour wheel here. Right, so we have blue violet, violet, red violet. Okay, so I've got my two colours ready. I've got my cool red and my cool blue ready to go. Now, I'm just going to wet that section a bit here because that's a bit dry now. I'm just going to wet that, and I'm going to now mix my violet. So I'm going to make a mid violet, so I'll just add these together, and you can see that makes quite a lovely, very dark one actually, but when you paint it on your page you'll be able to see the colour come up. So that is my mid violet, and you can see it's quite dark. Little trick that I find helps is to add a little bit of white to the violet, just to make it a little bit more obvious. Now, from where I am, that's definitely violet. It might look like black to you, but it's definitely violet there. But yeah, if you want, just add a touch of white to make that pop a bit. Now, I'm ready for my blue violet. So over here, I'm going to add more blue to my cool red. And I've got that lovely blue violet. And that just goes here. So you can see it's an intermediate colour. It's somewhere, it's neither violet nor blue really. It's a blue violet. Okay. And finally I'm going to make my red violet. So basically it's this purple with a lot of red. So I'm just going to add it to my red. I don't need red for any other reason anymore. So there we go. And that is really, that's a really reddish violet there. You can see when I put it on quite streaky, even on the palette where it streaks, you can see that the white of the palette brings out the colour, which is why if you want, you could add a touch of white to your paint. But I'm just going to use the pure colours. There we go. Let's blend them in now while they're still wet. Go back to this colour here, blend it in. Okay. And we're done. Forgot to blend it into the red. So, not to worry, I'm just going to add a little bit more red to my palette. And blend that in. Might be a good time to wash my brush, I think. Okay, good, all done. So that's my blended colour wheel. I can see here, I think I've forgotten to blend my red with my orange properly. So you can go over your colour wheel at any time and reblend the colours. Just simply add a fresh lot of colour, and so I could add more orange to that and just blend in between that. So that's not hard to do. Okay, so give that a go, and that's our blended colour wheel. Thanks.